Hey, how's it going? Adrienne Elise here. I just wanted to pop in and talk to you about what's going on in the stars and the planets. We are building up to this ultra powerful total lunar eclipse in Aquarius on Friday. And there's a multiple powerful aspects. When we say angles, when we say aspects in astrology, we're talking about the angles between the planets that they're making. And a bunch of really powerful aspects are happening for this lunar eclipse, and they're starting already. So I wanted to just talk through this week leading up to this eclipse and, just a little bit about the multitude of influences that we're feeling and what this might mean for us. So we all know that we're in almost to the middle. It's interesting to me that there is a lunar eclipse and Mercury turning retrograde right at the midpoint of this Mars retrograde. Mars retrograde lasts for about 2 months, and here we are about 1 month through, and we have this crazy lunar eclipse, total lunar eclipse, and Mercury turning retrograde. So the Mercury retrograde energy is already happening. It's beginning to station, and all of the little glitchy things that happen with Mercury retrograde, we're already feeling. So just know that things are going to take a little extra time sometimes. It's not a good time to just really push forward with things or make huge decisions, or, it's just kind of a time to let things roll for a little bit, because we are in a massive recalibration. And I'm not even sure exactly what it all means, but there's some incredibly interesting messages coming through about this Mercury and Mars retrograde and the eclipse, all of what's happening. Eclipses are like portals in time, and this one is particularly powerful because of all the other things that are going on around it. And with two of our main action planets in retrograde, we are feeling suspended and we're feeling impotent with that Mars retrograde and feeling like, it's hard to take action. It's hard to move forward. It's hard to know. So Mars wants to move and go and take action, and Mercury is like, what are we going to do and why are we going to do it? Okay. So with these planets, along with this eclipse retrograde, it's like we're in the middle of this massive restructuring of time. And so a lot of people are feeling stuff from the past come up. And we've talked about this, how there's like these patterns and they're just repeating and they're coming more and more and they're growing bigger. They also are shifting faster too, though. But these repeating patterns from the past where you're like, wait a minute, like I totally thought I dealt with this, and here it is again, and I've gotten nowhere. So the Mars and Mercury retrograde together energy is like, I'm not getting anywhere. What is the point? I've done years and years of work and I have nothing to show for it, this kind of feeling. But what's really happening is that we're being forced to let go of the constructs. A lot of what's happening right now, because of the sun is squaring up with Uranus, and that's going to make a T-square for this full moon. With basically, so Uranus is in between the moon and the sun, making a T-square, and in Taurus. And so when Uranus interacts with the sun and the moon, but with the sun, we're talking about changes and resets and new information and unexpected happenings, and electrical type of insights around who we are. Everything in the sky right now is pointing to a grand ego death and like a redo. We've talked about how 2018 is a year of adjustment, and this is the most intense week of the year. So here we go. And if you can pay attention and use these aspects to your advantage and understand what's trying to happen, that we're literally like suspended in time while some fundamental massive changes of our reality take place, so that we can be kind of dropped back into a new reality. But we've got to calibrate. And the main energy about what we need to calibrate has to do with who we think we are. And so that's one of the main aspects we're already beginning to feel this week as the sun comes into the square with Uranus. And it's a big question. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you were? And where we're attached to the past and who we think we were, what we thought we wanted, what we thought we're going to do in this lifetime, that is all up for review. And it's like, let it go, you know, but it's really hard. It feels like failure. It feels like a death of some sort. It feels like just, and it's just going along with the Mercury Mars retrograde. It's just like, oh, you know, but we can't move into this new paradigm until we let go of the past. Now, the other thing that's really powerful coming through right now is that the truth about time is there's a silly thing where time, you know, time's not, it doesn't really exist. It's like we've created it to track and measure and be able to have a process of growth as in our human evolution. So when we're dealing with the past things, sometimes it feels like past events, and a lot of times these can be subconscious things, like from past lives, so you don't even know what it is. And this big feeling comes up. So let's say it's anxiety or a fear or a trauma-based feeling, and it's like, where did this come from and what is this about? And I don't know, but it's real and it's visceral in my body. So, but we have to understand that our ability to visit the past right now is also catapulting us into the future, because the truth about time is that the past, the right now ripples into the past and to the future. And when we go into the past and we heal and resolve these traumas, it changes our future vibration. So know that if you're feeling stuck in the past and in grief and like you can't let go and this old pain is coming up that you totally thought you resolved, and you know, players are coming back into your life that caused this pain, and it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to get out from under this. You are actually, this is right now, the universe is setting up this dynamic opportunity for us to create a new ripple as we move into the future. And that seems to be, the eclipses in general can be portals in time and timeline alignments, but this one is crazy because it's 4 degrees, 44 seconds Aquarius. And when you add those numbers up in numerology, 444, you get 12. And that is like the key to all geometry, the way things magically fit together in our universe. 3s and 4s. And when you do 3 and 4, and that gets you to 12. Now in 12, you're going to add together the 1 and the 2 in numerology, and that's going to get back to 3. 3 is the number of creation. It's about bringing into form something from nothing. Okay, so that's really what's happening. But what it feels like is grief and death and like stuck in the past. But the more we can stay present with what's happening, you know, and there is a desire right now to escape and to use substances or just kind of, you know, technology or media to just kind of like not deal with our everyday reality. But if you can stay present through this week of this powerful astrology and this eclipse, you can get a lot done. I mean, it's a massive karmic cleansing that's going on right now. Now, Mars retrograde is also just checking in on that. Mars rules our physical body and it rules our ancestry. And so there's a lot of cleansing trying to happen in the physical body. And this might be like, there's a lot of energy coming in right now. There's been way less chemtrails, and the energy of the sun is coming in, and our DNA has light receptors and receives this energy of the sun. But when we do this, we upgrade our body, upgrade our vibration, and it can cause literally a physical cleansing reaction. So just know that this is happening, and to support your body with just really awesome, fresh, whole foods and juices and water and broth and whatever kind of makes you feel light and free, that can really help right now. And also the other messages that came through around Mars retrograde is try to stay active. It's hard to be active during Mars retrograde, especially if it's like really hot in the northern hemisphere and with the summer months right now. But that is saving people if you can just force yourself to be active in your physical body. It's not for any other reason besides feeling the energy of movement. And that is just a really key thing that's really helping right now, especially as we move into this Mercury retrograde. So Mercury turns retrograde on Thursday, and the total lunar eclipse is on Friday. So we're just feeling it. And just if you can just know that we're in this massive restructuring, regenerative, death of the old ego and into the new. So what we have is we go through these different kind of personality constructs as we grow and change, coming closer and closer to our true self and further away from what we are trying to be for other people, the labels we put on ourselves in this lifetime, and trying to live up to something, or to, you know, some sort of attachment to who we are and what we're here to do. And it's like everybody's kind of coming to the end of the road on those old personality constructs, and it can feel like free fall, like death, like what's happening, who am I? But you're really being suspended, it kind of picked up out of this timeline, and then so you can be put back in once these energy changes happen and once you can adjust. So it's like we're getting this massive redo on our reality, and we're kind of have to adjust to that energy. And it's been trying to happen for so long, and it's kind of had so much resistance. You know, it's like the natural place where our sun is moving, our planetary structures in our galaxy, in our solar system, are moving through parts of the galaxy that are activating us. But there's been resistance to that, and the resistance is falling away. And so more of these, it's like a snowball effect of these activation energies coming into our field. At the same time, we have Mars and Mercury retrograde, and it just feels like, what is going on? Now, so let's talk about, we know we've got the sun squaring up with Uranus and that energy, and Mars is going to be coming up with that at the end of the month. So we've got a lot of this squaring up with Uranus, and when Uranus is involved, it's unexpected things, information and happenings, coincidences, sudden changes. And so watch out for information, you know, just this being present and paying attention and staying active in your physical body and allowing for a cleanse on your physical body are the messages coming through that are the best support right now. But not only do we have these squares with Uranus, which can bring tension, like where does your sun, who you think you are, not want to adjust to the new? Because Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. So it's the new energy of this new age, and the quirky, the individual part of yourself, but not the part that's conformed to society, but that's more true to who you really are. And this is trying to emerge, but there's tension around it. You know, it's like the butterfly in the cocoon. Just before it breaks, it doesn't know it has wings. It doesn't know there's light out there. It doesn't know whether it's going to live or die. And that's kind of where we're at. And so just sit tight and let it roll. But the other thing that's really helping us is that at the same time, so this whole week leading up through the 28th, so Saturday, and starting yesterday, all of these influences are being felt this whole week. And one of the ones, we got the sun square Uranus, but we also have the sun in a beautiful trine with Chiron. And Chiron's the wounded healer. And in a trine, it's super harmonious, but you have to use those to your advantage. You have to take action. You have to kind of claim it and make use of it. But it's like, yes, it's an ego death, right? Get over it. But it can be harmonized, right? You can see hope and glints of the future coming in, you know, and kind of trusting a little bit more in the energetic paradigm. The physical paradigm, the ego constructs are dying so that a new energetic paradigm can catch us. But when you're having the death process and you're not seeing the new energies yet, it just can feel incredibly uncomfortable. And so this energy of the sun trining into Chiron is saying, hey, we can do this. We can do this. We can go through this. We can do it harmoniously. But the key here is that, you know, to move to that new paradigm, of course, we're going to have to let go of our woundedness, our attachment to our woundedness, our identity to our woundedness. And this happens over lifetimes. Well, it's like, it always happens this way for me, right? And it's like, no, not anymore. Not anymore. You're going to feel worse and worse and worse the more you cling to your false identity concepts of who you are. And so that's really what this Mars and Mercury retrograde is. It's like, I don't know, yeah, whatever, you know. And that's an interesting thing, because Mars retrograde is like, you don't have any fight, right? Like Mars is our warrior, like, let's go. But Mars retrograde in Aquarius is like, we can't go forward in the same way that we have. And how do we fight without fight? How do we win? How do we fight without fight? How do we stand, you know, how do we surrender to the new and the process and like not become a doormat, you know, like not give over to energies that want to persuade us in a certain direction, or, you know, just there's so much manipulation right there, right now, out in our world, in our media, everything. It's like, and so we have to stay strong and stay centered and stay aware and stay true to our true self, and recognize that there's been multiple levels of operations back to the 50s that have been designed to figure out how to manipulate and control us. And we're coming, you know, so it's like right now you got to understand that the ship, that which is that your construct of your reality and your personality, is shipwrecked. Hold on, just hold on to the piece that you have that's true, that keeps you afloat, of who you really are, because that you can't lose, and that can't be manipulated, and it can't be, you know, there's an illusion that it could be owned, or your soul could be stolen and that kind of thing, but that's actually not true. And so, like, grab on to the part of the wreckage that's going to keep you afloat, which is like that true truth of who you are, and like ride the waves, you know, let this shift happen. But it's interesting because at the same time, we're having this energy of Mars retrograde being like, okay, so how do we fight this feeling of being defeated? I'll never win against this enemy. And this kind of thing in your life, like of just like nothing's working out and I've tried so hard, and, you know, these types of feelings coming up. But we're learning a new way to fight without fighting. This is like the art of war, where the concepts are around allowing using your strategic mind and intellect to invite your enemies to destroy each other, and then you don't even have to go to war. And so this is kind of the energy of this Mars retrograde. We're all in this kind of like art of war thing, where it's like, how do you surrender without becoming a doormat to the energies around you and the manipulative energies in our universe and our world right now. And so we're all in this journey together, and not quite sure exactly what it means, but maybe we'll figure it out by, you know, in October, when Mars comes out of its retrograde shadow. So much going on. The other thing that we're feeling is Saturn trining up with Uranus. Now, Saturn is our reality planet. It's in Capricorn at home, and it's like rules, regulations, you know, how do you make it work in 3D reality? Show me the money. And then Uranus is like that out there planet. It's like new energies, new paradigms, but they're both in earth signs. And so we've had this Saturn trine Uranus for the last couple of years in fire signs, very activating, but not a lot of real change in 3D reality. So this Saturn trine Uranus is like, there's miracles waiting to happen, manifestations in our reality here about the spiritual transitions and new updates and these activations that are happening, finally reflected 3D reality. This is magic and manifesting. So these things all together in the sky are telling us that it's time to allow ourselves to die to who we thought we were and start creating something fabulous and new. Now, do we deserve it? That's the question that's coming up with. One of the other aspects that's going on is that Venus is coming into an opposition with Neptune. And again, we're going to feel this all week long through this lunar eclipse. And a powerful message here, because Venus is in Virgo, and Virgo wants to clean things up and discriminate and figure things out. It's, you know, Mercury is a ruler of Virgo. It makes it very strong for this Mercury retrograde. And so there's this kind of like wanting to come to the truth of things and sort out the distortions. Now, Neptune, on the other hand, in Pisces is the complete opposite. It's like delusions, dreams, a spiritual connection, but kind of like what's real and what's not real, and what's fantasy and what's delusion. And so we're having to face our delusions, but also maybe dream a new dream around our self-worth, because Venus rules our self-worth and our value system. And so, you know, Venus opposite Neptune is saying, you know, do you deserve it? Like, are you in the delusion over lifetimes that you've been programmed to think that you're not good enough? You know, and it was probably played out in this early childhood of this life as well. Those patterns typically play out. And so it's like, part of the restructuring that we're doing right now and the recalibrating has to do with really resetting our whole vibrational system into receiving mode and being like, yes, of course I deserve it, because we all do, because we're all here and the sun shines equally on all of us. And if you're a living, breathing existence with a heartbeat, a human, a true human, and going through this evolution right now, then of course you deserve, and it's like, so we've got to reset and change our whole vibrational system. And that's part of that Chiron woundedness. It's like the Chiron woundedness is like shame and failure and wounds of like this, like where you felt like in past lives where you accidentally hurt other people, and you're like going to continue to beat yourself up for lifetimes over it, even though you were just playing something out for them. And it's like all of this confusion around feeling like you're not good enough, or you don't deserve, or you should have done something different, or you should feel guilty about the things in the world. And this is really common for the indigo souls. And all this stuff is shaking out right now. And Venus opposite Neptune is saying, dream a new dream around this. Claim your self-worth. Virgo says, clean it up. Clean up the shame around our sense of that's kind of like clinging to humanity, and it's not really the truth of humanity. So there's just a huge, a big part of what's happening right now is an opportunity for a reset on your core level self-worth and ability to receive from this universe. Because how can we allow the magic creations that want to come into 3D reality and support us in being in the right place at the right time and doing these amazing and creative projects that are trying to land on planet Earth? How can we do that if we don't vibrate at the energy of that we deserve to receive and deserve to be, to exist and be who we really are? So anyway, there's so much going on, and I'll probably pop back in again before this lunar eclipse and check in a little later in the week. But just hang in there with this crazy energy, because there's a lot of really good stuff happening, but it's a shakedown right now. And that's because there's this great redo happening in the cosmos, and of course our structured reality, and so the structures of our reality. So I hope you can join me for this lunar eclipse. We're going to do a group session where we look intuitively at shared past life energies, do a clearing and an activation, and just hold amazing, awesome energy for ourselves to get this energetic and timeline reset that's available on this lunar eclipse, and share that, send a blessing out to the collective, holding the vibration and the vision of what we know is possible. So thank you so much for doing what you're doing and being here and living and breathing on planet Earth, for everything you've had to go through to be here right now, and know that it's for a reason, and it's going to be completely and totally worth it. But stuff's really weird right now. So I hope to see you on that live activation or that group session that's gonna happen on Friday at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That's 1 p.m. on the West Coast, 4 p.m. on the East Coast. And that's going to lead right up to the exact time of this lunar eclipse. So we're just going to kind of ride it through in this powerful activation, group session, group healing, and send out these beautiful waves of love to the universe, and claiming the world we want, the fight without the fight. And so I hope to see you there. Until then, or next time, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.